The following is a production of Phoenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of the Kristian Fenix radio show. It is Friday, July 9th. We are your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. I'm joined by my co-host, the Savage One, Mr. Tony Spark. Tony, how you doing this morning?
Doing good, buddy. It is Friday, ready for another fun show. How you doing?
Doing all right. You know, it's the end of the week, getting ready for a big pay-per-view event that we're putting on here in Reno. It's Reno Palooza, 7 bands, 4 solo artists. It's going to be a live Phoenix Media pay-per-view production that, getting ready for that, putting this show together. It's a lot of work, but you know what? I'm ready for it to be here and just glad that it's Friday.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one, man. That definitely worth checking out. A lot of local bands in Reno.
Exactly. And it's too bad you had to go home so soon, because otherwise you could have come with me and, enjoyed some live local music, which it's nice to get back to live music all together.
Yeah. Well, any music, at this point would be fun to see live, just to go see it and get out. So. Exactly.
Yeah. No more, these little quarantine shows. Now it's getting back into groups and experiencing that, that live energy.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. Was it our once in a while correspondent or sports guy G-Man and his band is in there?
Yep. His band Seedless Tendency. They are not the direct headliner, but there are a couple bands down on the list. But nonetheless, it's still going to be a great show. So if you guys are here in the local area, you can either get tickets over there. They're playing at the Alpine, or you can watch it live on pay-per-view on ngbn.tv.
There you go.
Nice little shameless plug. All right, well, let's go ahead and kick things off the way we do each and every day with a question from my co-host. Tony, say you're going on a fishing trip. What sort of equipment do you bring with you?
Fishing pole, tackle box, jacket, fishing boots, waders, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that all sounds reasonable. What about a 357 Magnum?
It depends if you're going fishing in the sticks or something. You never know. If you got to defend yourself against bears, meth heads,
But it's not exactly an essential.
That's not something. Yeah, it's not something I've ever brought on a fishing trip. But each his own.
Exactly. Well, all that goes to say that a Northeast Missouri man is hospitalized after accidentally shooting himself while fishing. It happened around 3 p.m. Monday on a farm east of Lancaster, Missouri. Schuyler County Sheriff Joe Wuberker told KTVO the victim is Derek Shaw, 33, of Memphis, Missouri. The sheriff said Shaw was fishing alone on a family member's farm when the shooting happened. Shaw told investigators he was messing around with his .357 Magnum when it accidentally discharged. Well, that's what happens when you mess around with it. The bullet from the handgun struck Shaw in the upper left chest area. He was able to call 911. Shaw was flown from the scene to University Hospital in Columbia, Missouri for treatment. A hospital spokesman told KTVO on Wednesday that Shaw was listed in fair condition. Lancaster Fire and Rescue, Schuyler County Ambulance, and Downing Fire Department helped the Schuyler County Sheriff's Office with the incident. Let's see. Editor's note, they said change to indicate the incident happened Monday instead of Tuesday. Okay, well, we really don't care about that. In any case, 357 Magnum, not a fishing tool. Of course, you hear about those people who bring like dynamite and they throw it in and blow up and then fish come flowing to the surface. Again, probably not the best way, not the most sporting way to fish.
No, absolutely. Homer Simpson style.
Exactly.
Just the thing, like some people just should not own guns, or at least go do the safety. Jeez Louise.
Oh, and it's amazing how many people out there, you know, I've taken my CCW class. I'd say half of the class didn't deserve to pass. And the good news is that the instructor didn't pass them just because gun safety wasn't there. The basics of gun safety are essential. So, you know, everybody should be required to do that, especially if they plan on owning a firearm.
Oh, absolutely. Should be able to pass the simple test. I mean, says the guy that doesn't own a gun or has taken a class, but you know I would if I ever get one. It would be something I would do, so that way I'm not the idiot on one of these stories.
Where's Tony today?
Shot myself. Currently wounded. That's why I'm so slow going.
There you go. Well, folks, it is Friday, and we've got a wonderful show lined up for you today. Let's talk about today's show, shall we?
It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
We're looking forward to the
bodyguard
weekend.
wife.
But not before we bring you guys good news, everyone. We've got a segment called Mythbusters, and of course we round out the day with This Day in History. Folks, do not go anywhere. We will be right back.
Behold my process. Ooh, yeah, let me tell you something right here. It's the Loot Crate subscription box, yeah, full of exclusive loot, fun surprises delivered to your door every month.
Just pick up your favorite geeky genre, Daddy.
From the original Loot Crate, the Loot Crate DX collectible boxes, dude. Cowabunga!
To the Loot Gaming video game box.
Woohoo! Yee-hoo! Wowzers! With crits starting as low as $11.99 per month, there's a box just about for all collectors.
To get your geek on, head over to phoenixmedia.us/Loot Crate and claim your exclusive offer. That's FENIXmedia.us/Loot Crate. Great Scott!
Snap into a Loot Crate, dig it?
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. We've got a little thing we talk about each episode. It is the Fenix Line, our 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line, giving you guys, the listeners and watchers, an opportunity to chime in on anything whatsoever. Maybe a 357 Magnum is part of your tackle box. You use it for fishing purposes. We want to hear about it. Give us a call at 855-FENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RDO or 855-336-4973. All we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We'll compile those together, put them out in a future show. Now it is Friday, and as we like to do on Fridays, we're turning the tables on all of the bad news, the hate, the vitriol, the divisiveness that's out there with a segment that I like to call
Good News, everyone.
So I'll go ahead and kick things off with this story. Turn back the clock to 1926. Imagine yourself a teenager, your whole life ahead of you, shining with possibility. It's your birthday. As a gift to yourself, you toss a message in a bottle into the local river and watch it float from sight, never knowing if or when the bright-eyed boy you are now will reconnect with the man you'll someday become. While that may not have been the exact scenario, 95 years later, the message, if not the bottle, was finally found or has finally found its way home. Jennifer Dowker, who captains Michigan-based Nautical North Family Adventures, spends her summer scuba diving and conducting shipwreck tours from her boat, the Yankee Sunshine. An avid collector, she was performing underwater maintenance on the glass bottom window when she found a curious curio on the riverbed. The bottle's unusual antique shape, the green glass, were what first caught Dowker's eye. But on closer inspection, she realized the find was something more. Though damaged and slightly waterlogged, she and her crew learned the note inside the bottle had survived an amazing 9+ decades in the water. Dated November 26th, it read, "Will the person who finds this bottle return the paper to George Morrow Sheboygan, of Sheboygan, Michigan, and tell where it was found?" After posting a picture of the long-missing missive to Facebook, word spread like wildfire. More than 100,000 shares and 6,000 comments later, one curious reader managed to locate Morrow's daughter, Michelle Primo, who doesn't do Facebook, to tell her story and give her Dowker's contact information. Morrow passed away in 1995, but Primo recognized her father's handwriting. With a habit of secreting small notes away in unlikely places, she said that sending a message in a bottle was very much in keeping with his sentimental character. "I can just see him going out and doing that because it was his birthday," Primo told CNN. "I don't know for sure, but it just sounds like something he would have done." Though initially Dowker told Primo she'd forward the mementos to her, after sleeping on the idea for a night, Primo decided a policy of finders keepers would better serve her dad's memory. "I thought the right thing to do would be to give it to her," Primo told CNN. "She found it, and that would keep my dad's name living on." Indeed, Dowker plans to put the souvenirs on prominent display and pass the story behind them along, preserving Morrow's legacy. Primo has planned a September visit to view the family's keepsakes in person. Now, perhaps it was purely coincidence, but this whole episode happened on Father's Day weekend. Even if it wasn't George Morrow's way of letting his little girl know he was still watching over her, all these years later, she says it brought back a boatload of wonderful memories. So, it's not nobody changing the world, but it is one of those things where, you find a little piece of history. It brought good memories to somebody who had fond memories of their father. And ultimately, it was just a feel-good, good news story, which is why it makes it my
Good News, everyone.
That was a fantastic story. That was great. Can you imagine not something you would expect to hear, and then all of a sudden there's a message from your dad. Now, granted, it's just, tell me where you found it. There's no big story behind what was in there, but still very cool.
Yeah. And it's, posthumously it was obviously found, but, just knowing that those little sort of keepsakes are out there for a guy who liked to leave notes like that, really cool.
That is very cool. Mine it's almost like it should be an Animal Tale story, but it is a good one. So
I like turtles.
It has nothing to do with turtles. I just wanted to play the bite. But how did Sherlock Holmes solve the case of the missing sheepdog? By using simple logic. What do sheepdogs do? They herd sheep. So if a sheepdog were to suddenly vanish, where might one expect to find him? Herding sheep, of course. All right, for all you sticklers, we're aware that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle never wrote a story called The Case of the Missing Sheepdog, but when Tilly, a 2-year-old border collie red heeler mix, recently went AWOL after his humans and their truck were involved in a traffic accident, he was later located practicing his herding skills on a flock at a nearby farm. Tilly, named for Gonzaga University player Killen Tilly, currently on the roster of the Memphis Grizzlies, was thrown from the Oswald family's GMC Yukon when it collided with a Buick LeSabre late last Sunday morning on Idaho State Highway 41 near Rathdrum. Ejected through a broken window, a frightened Tilly ran off through the fields. Search was mounted almost immediately. Strangers stopped their cars near the site of the crash to help Mike and Linda Oswald look for their lost fur baby. After 10 hours of hunting with no luck, the Oswalds called it a night and headed home, not before posting a picture of Tilly to Facebook and asking for folks to be on the lookout for their precious pooch. Their plea was shared more than 3,000 times. The following Tuesday, Tyler Potter noted something peculiar going on with one of the dogs on their family farm. An Aussie shepherd named Huey looked a bit off, like his fur was darker. She mentioned it to her brother Travis. But it was only later when another brother, Zane, noticed Huey behaving strangely. Rather than coming when called, the normally obedient hound ran in the other direction. The Potters began to suspect something unusual was afoot. When the siblings finally put 2 and 2 together, they realized they had on their hands wasn't Huey not being Huey, it was another doggo altogether. Having been privy to the Oswald's Facebook post, they knew immediately the counterfeit shepherd was none other than the absconded Tilly. By pure coincidence, a sheriff deputy who happened to be scouting for signs of Tilly was passing by just as the Potters reached their stunning conclusion. They relinquished custody of the sheepdog impersonator to the peace officer and did not press charges against Tilly for herding without a permit, even though they were fairly certain his enthusiastic but untrained attempts had gone awry and sent several flock members out of the pasture and onto a nearby road embankment. Linda Oswald confirmed the Potter's suspicions. He'll herd anything. When I go to the dog park, he tries to herd the people into one group. On Tuesday morning, Tilly was reunited with his joyful family, unhurt and relieved to be home. The only lingering effect of his 2-day adventure was a tremendous thirst, which is unceremoniously assuaged by lapping up huge quantities of water from the commode. Linda Oswald admitted she had been heartbroken over the loss of her beloved pet and couldn't thank everyone who kept up the search enough. If pandemic-related social isolation has an upside, Oswald believes it's inspired folks to try to reconnect any way they can. All of a sudden, I think people saw a time to really jump out and help, even if it was just a small thing like finding a dog. There's a lot of kind people out there. And so the case of the missing sheepdog is happily closed without a single elementary, my dear Watson. Okay.
Yeah, a little Sherlock Holmes pun there, but no, it's funny. I actually pulled that story and put it aside for one of the animal tales, but I thought it was funny that, this dog that goes missing decides, I'm just going to keep working, keep herding sheep. Not very well, but at least he tried, right?
Nah, I'm glad it turned out to be a good one, because this was got home at like 2:30 this morning. Oh crap, I need a good news story. Saw a picture of a cute dog. I'm like, that'll do. That'll do.
I like it. Which is
I skimmed it and just went boop.
Obviously why it's your
good news, everyone.
We've got enough time. I've got a short one that I'm going to run down here. With social distancing and limited face-to-face interaction, dating in the time of
Coronavirus
had proved a challenge to everyone. But when Cupid's dart struck one spirited pair of nonagenarians, they refused to say no to love. When John Schultz, a widower twice over, met Joy Morrow Knowlton, who'd also lost 2 previous spouses, he knew he was smitten, and the feeling was mutual. Unfortunately, it seemed as if the pandemic was conspiring to keep the would-be lovers apart. While it took some doing, the upstate New York couple continued to pursue their mutual attraction despite COVID-19 shelter-in-place protocols. She was worth it, It was a pain in the neck, though, John quipped to CBS's Steve Hartman during a segment of On the Road. Eventually, after recovering from their vaccinations and with restrictions lifting, the pair was finally able to get back to the business of courtship. The more time they spent together, the stronger their bond grew until John, being an old-fashioned gentleman, finally proposed. Joy accepted. When the couple wed in a recent ceremony, both the bride and groom were 95. In traditional romance sagas, the hunky hero and the spunky heroine must face a gauntlet of obstacles before finally arriving at their happy ending. For John and Joy, it didn't take it didn't take being young or hunky to find true love, but being spunky sure paid off. When asked what was the key to his dad and new stepmom's successful romance, Schultz's son Pete had a ready answer. Perseverance, he told Hartman. They'd call every day. They'd find a way to get together. They did whatever it took. Proving that if you have the courage to follow your heart, you're never too old to say, I do. Sweet story about a couple 95-year-olds getting married in the time of Corona. True love perseveres. It
really does.
Obviously why it is a
good news, everyone.
Well, folks, we are headed into our break. When we come back, we've got a segment called Mythbusters, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm going to do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. Indeed. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show, and we are all over social media with many of you watching us as we speak on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Now, if you want to enjoy us from the comfort of your own home or on the go, just download the ngbn.tv either TV app or the mobile application. From there, you can go into the Fenix Media channel, get this great show and other Fenix Media shows as well. Now, if you want to get a hold of me on social, I'm available at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. That's Kristian with a K, Fenix with an F, radio, of course, with an R, or on Instagram and Twitter at Fenix Media Radio. Tony's available at facebook.com. Very fitting. Facebook.com/Tony Spark. That's SPARK81. Or on Instagram at Tony.Sanfilippo81. Now, in this segment, came across a list of annoying myths that people still tend to believe, which is why I've titled this segment Mythbusters. Obviously, from the popular Discovery Channel show back in the day. God, I miss that show. They did some great things there.
They really did some neat stuff on that show.
They really did. And, I still reference a lot of those today. In this case, they're a little bit smaller myths, but, people still tend to believe them. For instance, let's go ahead and kick things off with this first one. The myth is that goldfish can live life in a small fishbowl. It's the worst possible thing to do to them. They die so quickly because they are messy fish and ultimately swimming in toxic water. They need twice the water a regular fish does to dilute the ammonia their food and waste create. Goldfish can grow up to 12 to 14 inches and live 10 to 15 years in a proper habitat. Just because your parent did this or you see them at the fair doesn't mean it's right. Same goes for the most animals kept in small cages or tanks. If you aren't going to do it right, then you should not own a pet. Do your research. And, it's totally true. When I first saw this, I thought it was the myth that goldfish had 5-second memories, which is also, but,
I've heard that.
Yeah, this one makes a lot of sense. Give them lots of space. They're not disposable beings.
Yeah, no. Well, goldfish, when you're a kid, you really don't even think about it. I think we had goldfish, and fish are kind of hard to take care of in general as pets.
They really are.
You got to really be careful with the water. You got to constantly clean the tanks. So when you're transferring them, you got to make sure the water you're placing them in temporarily is the same temp, and it is a lot of work with fish, man. It's a lot of work for an animal that doesn't give you love back. It's not like a dog or a cat that, you put a lot of work in, you get something back. Fish are just, fun to look at, but still just a ton of work. Yeah, very fun to look at, but yeah, a lot of work.
Well, let's move on with our next one here in Mythbusters. The myth, certain animal parts have healing or magical properties. Like tiger whiskers protect the wearer, or rhino horn cures impotence. And
rhinos.
All untrue. Obviously, poaching is a big thing in Africa. And, they cut off rhino horns to try and cure erectile dysfunction. It doesn't really work.
No.
All right. Let's keep moving on with Mythbusters. Words are hard today. I was telling Tony that my brain is 5 steps ahead of my mouth, and they're not syncing up this morning, but it's the way it goes sometimes.
Right. You're like, no.
All right. This next myth, it says, not sure if it fits here exactly, but the McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit being a frivolous case filed by a money-hungry customer. That poor lady was a real victim who suffered legitimate injuries, who only wanted her medical costs covered. Of course, that's one of those urban legends you hear about all the time. I don't know if I necessarily heard that it was frivolous, but their coffee is damn hot. And so now they've got little labels on everything, and even their apple pies as well. If you don't expect a hot apple pie, then, why?
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of that goes with just having common sense. If you're going to get coffee and stuff, just know it's going to be hot. You just got to be very careful. But I do remember when I was younger, There never used to be warning labels on that stuff, but
no. Now there's warning labels on everything.
Everything, yep.
The funny thing is, when you come across a just ridiculous warning label, it's only there because it actually happened to somebody. So,
yep.
Yeah, you can't cure stupid people. All right, let's keep rolling on.
Good.
Yeah, I know. With Mythbusters. Our next myth, that you can detox your body from toxins and parasites by drinking certain teas or taking some weird medication. Repeated diarrhea and frequent urination doesn't indicate toxins leaving your body. Your liver and kidneys do the job. If your liver is not functioning or you have a kidney disorder, obviously you need help, but it won't be teas that someone on Instagram is boasting about. Yeah, you hear about that all the time, or these special like detox diets and things like that. No, just eat healthy from the beginning and you won't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah, baby.
I don't know if that's the right soundbite for talking about diarrhea.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, baby. I mean, like, it's going on the diet. But, yeah, no. There's your diarrhea one.
Let's go already.
After vacations, you always got to detox, too. Oof.
Oh, yeah, man. Just eating out all of the salt and processed foods. Yeah, it's but just let your body do it naturally.
Yeah.
Let's keep rolling on with Mythbusters. Can't even say the word Mythbusters, right?
Mythbusters! It's
Mythbusters.
Kristian.
I'm just doing my Mike Tyson.
It's your very best. Yeah, it's spinal injury.
The myth that violence in the world is getting worse and worse. Actually, in relation to the world's population, we live in the most nonviolent era in history. The problem is that while 500 years ago you might have not even heard all the news from within your city, we can now hear all the horrible news from all over the world, and there's also more of us. But still, human interaction and conflict in general is much less violent than it used to be. We kind of mentioned this the other day that, there used to be wars upon wars, just all over religion. My God is better than your God. My version of the same God is better than your version of a different God. It was much less violent. We still have violence, but communication and news is more prominent now. So that's why we hear about it. But all in all, we're in a safer, happier place these days. Even if it doesn't feel that way.
It's not like, was it the king with the drumstick off with your heads,
Right.
The old days.
Henry VIII.
Henry VIII, there it is. So bad.
Let's keep moving on with Mythbusters. This next myth, you heard it all the time, that if you touch a baby bird, its mother will abandon it because of the smell. In reality, birds have very bad senses of smell. So, don't go around touching baby birds, but at the same time, it won't cause the mother to abandon them, and, you won't send them to sheer doom.
I was going to say, it sounds like my Nevada trip, I think last year, when I was hanging out with Jenny. Like, they found a baby bird, and I heard that, "Ooh, don't touch it or the mom won't know." And it's like, the mom doesn't know where it's at now.
So, right. That's a good point.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if you want to help the bird, it's injured, but, the mom's obviously not sticking around. So.
Yeah. And hopefully that bird found its way back to the mother, but at the same time, it wasn't because somebody touched it. So.
No.
Let's keep rolling on, talking Mythbusters. This one is simple, but is truly a myth, and I know you will agree with it. The myth that the customer is always right. No, the customer is not always right. Most businesses have the right to refuse service to anybody if they choose to, and most people are just not overly smart. So with that being said, if a customer demands something that's out of line, then you have every right to tell them no.
Yeah, that's 100%. And that shouldn't even be a myth. Like, they think that's it's an entitlement, and it's okay to be a part of a company that wants to back, like the member service, like we do. You always want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, some of the ridiculous ones that because they can't read a sign, and they're like, oh well, that toolbox said it was $9.99, but clearly above the sign is something that's next to it. Because you got kids or people that just walk by and flip the sign. It's not hard to go, oh, magnets.
Or the old,
get it for this price, man.
The old, can't you just make an exception? No.
Yeah. Or what some of my favorite things too is a coupon that ended like 2 months ago, and they're like, well, I was in Guatemala with Jimmy, and I didn't have time to take advantage of these sales for the chips. It's just kind of like,
well, too bad you missed out.
There's a window. There's a time window. Like if you miss it by a day, okay. Yeah, you miss it by like 2 months. Sorry.
Not so much.
It'll go on sale again in another month, I'm sure.
There you go.
Not always right.
Let's keep moving on. Mythbusters. Here's one I always heard growing up, and obviously has to do with one of my greatest fears. The myth, you swallow 8 spiders a year in your sleep. The thing was created to see how easily fake news spread. I would assume you at least swallow one, just through the nature of where they're crawling. But at the same time, good to know that it's not 8 in a year.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's an awful lot. I mean, unless you live in a bug-infested place and you sleep like that,
Oh, then finally, let's see.
Dun dun.
What's a good one to
go out?
Here's one you hear about all the time. Again, talking Mythbusters. Oh, the myth is all about MSG, the favorite additive to Chinese food. A lot of people still believe it's basically poison. It's no harmful than regular salt. Basically, it's just a whole bunch of sodium, which, a bunch of salt's not good for you either. So like anything, in moderation, it is okay. It is known to be slightly addictive, but it definitely makes Chinese food taste that much better.
Down to my Western one. I swear it have no MSG. Come find me on Highway 50s. No big deal. No MSG. A lot of sodium, though. It gonna get you a little hungry, a little stuffy. No big deal.
I figured you'd get a kick out of that one.
Yeah, no MSG.
That does it for this segment. When we come back, we're heading into the final segment of the day. It is time for This Day in History, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. We are back, folks. We've made it to not only the final segment of the day, but also the final segment of the week here on the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. Now, if you missed a portion of the show or you want to go back and catch up on any of the previous shows, it's easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, Doozer, Dozer, Geezer, Gozer.
Are you a god?
Listen, shut up for a second.
Thanks, Homer. While you're there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review. Let us know what you think and tell your friends, because why, Tony?
Sharing is caring. Like, subscribe, tweet, retweet, Insta, whatever you want. Share it, like it, download the app, and
just do it.
Get Reno Palooza this weekend on pay-per-view on the Fenix Media channel.
Exactly. Real quick before we get into this day in history, just a programming note that all next week we will be running best ofs of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show, taking some time to spend with my kids who are out for the summer. We're going away for a couple days, and so enjoy some of the best of our show, and we'll be back the following Monday with brand new content. Woo! With that being said, in this segment, we like to drop a little knowledge on you, hopefully make you laugh at the same time. It is time for This Day in History.
Traversing the globe for the stories that turn the world on its head. It's This Day in History with your correspondent on the beat,
Kristian Fenix.
Thank you, Siri. All right, kicking things off this day in 1401, Turco-Mongol ruler Tamerlane destroys Baghdad, killing 20,000. I didn't realize that the Mongol Empire went as far west as Baghdad. That's crazy.
I didn't either. We in Baghdad. I just wouldn't put those two together. So
no, you think Middle East, Far East, but there was some cross-pollination there for sure.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving on. This day in 1776, the Declaration of Independence is read to George Washington's troops in New York. Obviously, if you've been following the last couple days, I think 2 days ago, it was read in Pennsylvania for the very first time. Apparently took a couple more days to get to New York, but slowly they were rolling out our freedom to people as they went along.
Yeah, they sure didn't have Facebook and social media in 1776. I'm John Hancock. I like that extra large. Where's my large thumb button?
And I would imagine that the document was probably a little too big for carrier pigeon. So
yeah, just a little bit.
Oh, I know where Tone's going, because this day in 1807,
I just saw his picture.
The Second Treaty of Tilsit, signed by France, of course, Napoleon Bonaparte, between Russia and Prussia. Of course, we all know how Napoleon celebrated that treaty.
Napoleon!
Heading on down to Farrell's, getting that Piggly Wiggly ice cream trough.
Excellent!
All right, let's see. Keep moving on. This day in 1867, an unsuccessful expedition led by E.D. Young sets out to search for Dr. David Livingstone, the Scottish missionary and explorer. Of course, that's where you hear that classic line, Dr. Livingstone, I presume.
Dr. Livingstone? Unbelievable.
Moving on, this day in 1893, Daniel Williams repairs the torn pericardium of a knife wound patient, James Cornish, without penicillin or blood transfusion. Basically, he did open heart surgery on this guy, repaired it, the guy lived, all without antibiotics. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Just shut up. I'm going to help you. I'm a doctor. And I ain't Dr. Livingstone, so don't presume it.
Oh, I wouldn't have wanted to have surgery back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Yeah, even well before that. No anesthetic.
No, nothing.
No. Oh, ugh.
Quit being a pansy.
This day in 1914, Boston Red Sox purchased future Baseball Hall of Fame slugger Babe Ruth's contract from the minor league Baltimore Orioles. Oh, that was the very first step in the almost century-long curse of the Bambino.
Yeah.
They had to acquire him before trading him to the Yankees. Baby Ruth. This day in 1955, Bill Haley and the Comets' Rock Around the Clock tops the Billboard chart, one of the best-selling singles ever. It was prior to the Beatles, prior to Elvis. Simple song, but catchy hook.
Yeah, it definitely had a hook. Oh, hook.
This day in 1956, Dick Clark's first appearance as host of American Bandstand. Much better than his last appearance on television, where it was Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, and he had suffered the stroke. He couldn't count down properly. Poor guy. He should have exited television long before he did.
Yeah, he was in television for a long time.
He was. I mean, let's see, 1956 to 2015, 16, before he passed away?
Yeah, it's crazy. I know. And at that point, you always had Ryan Seacrest everywhere, which is weird because now Ryan Seacrest has like those issues.
He may have had a stroke himself, but
yeah.
Not showing it much. In any case, let's keep rolling on. This day in 1962, Andy Warhol's first West Coast Gallery exhibition in the Ferris Gallery of Los Angeles. Not a big Andy Warhol fan. When I was in the automotive industry, he did this great Mercedes-Benz sort of collage type thing, which was kind of cool. But other than that, it doesn't do much for me.
Nah. This artwork sells for a ton, though.
Yeah, it does. All right. Apparently, he was a MIB agent, according to MIB3. So,
yeah.
This day in 1968, Wilt Chamberlain becomes the first reigning NBA MVP to be traded the next season when he moves from the Philadelphia 76ers to the LA Lakers. Why would you get rid of your MVP? That just doesn't make any sense.
And who knows, at that time was a contract, was a dispute. This is why in today's modern day, the MVP wants out and the team won't let him out. They're like, no.
Yep. Sorry. Nothing we can do about it.
You're the MVP. Learn to like it or don't play.
Rolling on, this day in 1972, the first tour of Paul McCartney and Wings begins in France.
That's right. We are going to go on tour. You and me and Wings. It's going to be a good time.
Moving on, this day in 1980, 7 die in a stampede to see Pope John Paul II in Brazil. Opposite of the creepy Pope Benedict, where I'm sure people died in a stampede getting away from him.
Exactly. He's freaky. But isn't that sad, though? It's just to see a guy with the Pope hat, you're going to die because people are going to trample you to death. Awful.
Well, hopefully they went to heaven because they were trampled in going to see the Pope. So
this is true.
Moving on, this day in 1988, Nolan Ryan is 7th to win 100 games on 2 teams as the Astros beat the Mets 6-3.
It does say, be as an Astros, what it says. Because I was like, wait, that's confusing. Yeah, Nolan Ryan pitched for a lot of teams, surprisingly. But that's pretty awesome.
Forever, but yeah, great pitcher.
The Ryan Express.
Moving on, this day in 2001, The Office, mockumentary created by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, starring Ricky Gervais and Martin Freeman, premieres on the BBC Two in the UK. Obviously, this was the precursor to the Michael Scott version here in the US.
Yeah, I didn't really get into the Ricky Gervais one. I tried watching it, and I was like, it's okay, but it's because I've seen the American one first.
I've tried watching them both. I can't get into either one. Don't know why.
That's crazy. You haven't gotten into The Office. It's pretty funny. I mean, it takes a while to get into, but it's got some just ridiculous. Now, of course, I could understand if you're watching the later seasons. Those are pretty bad.
I think like Parks and Rec, I got to start with season 2 because season 1, they were still trying to find their dynamic between all the characters. But
and Michael Scott or Steve Carell had the weird hair plugs going on in the first season. That was a little weird.
And then finally here in This Day in History, this day in 2009, Joe Sakic retires after 21 NHL seasons with the Quebec Nordiques Colorado Avalanche franchise, finishing with 625 goals and 1,641 points. What a legend, and a little local there to you, Tone.
Yep, and he's what John Elway was to the Broncos. Like even now in post, he's like in management. I don't know exactly what role he plays. I think he might be the GM, but either way, he's still doing good even behind the scenes.
Very cool. Well, before we head out for the day, let's run down some of today's holidays, where we talk about the things that we like to celebrate. For instance, today is Call of the Horizon Day, whatever that means. It is Collector Car Appreciation Day. It is Fashion Day. It is Martyrdom of the Bab Day. Again, don't know what that means. National Don't Put All Your Eggs in One Omelet Day. Okay. National No Bra Day. I can get behind that. National Sugar Cookie Day. And finally, World Kebab Day. Folks, that does it for this episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. As I mentioned, we are taking the next week off. A bunch of best ofs. But in the meantime, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your week. And we'll see you all the following Monday.
Peace.